Hello, welcome to any community. From this particular video, we are going to start the new concept, that is Bahya Srotas. We are going to learn in this particular series, we are going to know about the importance of this particular Bahya Srotas and what impact that may have on maintenance of the health that will be discussed. Srotas is of two categories, Abhyantara Srotas and Bahya Srotas. So, Bahya Srotas, they are considered to be 9 in number in case of males and 12 in number in case of females. Whereas Abhyantara Srotas, they are 13 in number as per Charaka and 11 pairs as per Sushruta. So, in this particular series, we are going to discuss about the significance of Bahya Srotas. First and foremost, among these Srotas, the two Bahya Srotas, first of all, we are going to discuss about the Asya or mouth. The term Asya or mouth, before going to discuss about that, we are going to know about the what actually the Bahya Srotas are. The term Bahya, that is external or visible with eyes, without the aid of any kind of the other instruments, the person is able to visualize the status, health status or ill health status of these Srotas are considered to be, what do you say, that the Bahya Srotas. So the Charaka as well as Vagpata, they have given the 9 Srotas in case of males and 12 Srotas in case of females. 9 Srotas are, which are present both in males and females, 1 oral cavity, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 anus and 1 urethra. Whereas 3 extra Srotas, they are present in females, that is 1 vagina and 2 breasts. In this particular aspect, we are going to look into the significance of Asya or mouth. When you think about the Asya, it is considered to be one of the end of Mahasrotas. That is, Mahasrotas is the one, it is the channel which is present between mouth to anus, or what we can say, that is also being termed as Koshtha, or that is also being termed as Abhyantara Roga Marga. And Asya or mouth is considered to be present on one end of the Mahasrotas, what we can say, Abhyantara Roga Marga. It is considered to be one of the Mula of Pranavaha Srotas. Pranavahanam Srotasam Hridayam Moolam Mahasrotascha. So from that particular angle, so that is Asya can be considered as one of the Sroto Mula of Pranavaha Srotas. As far as the parts are coming under this particular Asya, that is being mentioned in Sushruta Nidana, Tatrayatanani, Oshtau, Dantamulani, Dantaha Jihva, Talukantaha Sarvani Cheti. That is 7 different parts are there. Oshtha, that is lips, Dantamula, gums, Dantaha, teeth, Jihva, tongue, Talu, palate, Kantha, that is throat, Sarvani, that is oral cavity or buccal mucosa or oral mucosa. These are the parts of the Asya. So what are the main functions of this particular organ or this particular part? Swallowing of the food, swallowing of the liquids also, swallowing of the solid substances, etc. Licking, such as the avaleha, etc. Speaking, in the speech specifically, that is possible by properly functioning oral cavity. Chewing, such as chewing gums, etc. Tasting the food substances, tasting the sweet, sour, salt, or bitter substances, etc., or tasting the shadrasa, drinking the liquids, drinking the juice, etc. Sometimes the breathing also. If the person is having the excessive exercise, he will be having the effortful breathing through the mouth, or otherwise, if the person is having the nasal obstruction, he will be breathing through the mouth, open mouth. These are the main functions of the asya or oral cavity. So when you think about the possible causes where you are going to have the affliction of the asya, that is being mentioned in Ashtanga Hridaya, Uttara Tantra 21st chapter. Matsya Mahishavaraha Pishitamakam Mahashasupadadikshira Shuktekshu Rasapanitam Avakshayam cha bhajato dvishato dantathavanam Dhumachardana Gandusha Anuchitam cha sirabhyadham Kruddhaha Shleshmolbana Doshaha Kuruvantyantar Mukham Gadan. These are the possible causes. They are being mentioned in the context of a Mukha Roga, where the possibility of the affliction of the Mukha is possible. Such as, when you split this particular word, Matsya, Mahisha, Varaha, Pishita. That is Matsya Pishita, Varaha Pishita, and Mahisha Pishita. That is flesh of the fish, Mahisha, buffalo, and Varaha, pig. Amaka Mulakam. That is fresh or raw, Mulaka or radish. Masha Supa Dadhikshira. Masha Supa. That is the black gram items, or sometimes the soup. That is the consumption. Dadhi. That is the curds intake. Shira. That is milk and milk products. Shukta. That is intoxicating substances, or what we can say the Madhya. Rasa. That is the Ikshu Rasa. That is the sugarcane and sugarcane products, sugarcane juice, etc. Panitam. That is jaggery. This is specifically Phanita that will be having the multiple bacteria in it if the preparation of this is not being performed. Avakshayam cha bhajato. That is the sleeping in the prone position. Bhajato. That is the if the person is the consuming the food in the sleeping posture. Vishato dantathavanam. That is, if the person is having the aversion to do the brushing of the teeth. Dhumachardana gandusha anuchitam chastarabhyadham. Dhumachardana gandusham. If the proper that is what we can say the medicated smoking, or what we can say dhumapana, is not being done properly. Chardana, that is vamana or MS, is not being done properly. Gandusha, that is if the proper gargling of the mouth is not being done. Anuchitam chasirabhyadham, if bloodletting is not being done properly. These are the possible causes of what we can say Mukha Roga affliction. There may be a possibility of affliction of either Oshtha or Danta Mula or Danta or Jihva, Talu, Kantha or Sarva. What do you say that the Asya, whole part of the Asyata. As far as the today's topic, what we can say the further understanding of this, if the person is having the talking about the Asya, it is considered to be one of the major natural orifice, wherein 95% of the causes of the Nija Vikara, where there may be a possibility of affliction of dosha, are manifested due to the entry of pathogens through the oral cavity only. This may be a source of entry of food, or there may be a possibility of entry of air during the mouth breathing in case of nasal obstruction, etc. There may be a possibility of entry of dust or smoke specifically if the persons are living in the area where the dust and smoke is being present, and sometimes secretions of the lips, specifically during the kissing, and secretions from the genitals, specifically when the persons are uh, doing the, what do you say, that the cunnilingus or fellatio, or what we can say during the oral genital stimulations. There may be a possibility of entry of the pathogens that may be possible through the oral cavity. So here the entry of pathogens that can happen either during swallowing or during the liquid, the drinking, during the chewing or kissing, etc. There may be a possibility of entry of pathogens that may take place through the oral cavity, wherein the person is not doing the proper oral hygiene, not maintaining the proper oral hygiene, such as during the chocolate consumption, etc., or after the food consumption, etc., there may be a possibility of the stasis of these pathogens in the oral cavity for longer amount of time, which may be responsible for the affliction of the cells in the oral cavity. When you are observing this particular the affliction of cells in the oral cavity, what we can say that is there may be a possibility of involvement of intracellular compartment of the oral cavity. So that means the person will be suffering from Nija Vikara in such situation. When the pathogens are moving from the mouth into the stomach via esophagus, that means there the conversion of the macromolecules into the intermediate molecules or macromolecules will happen. That means where the digestifier or Agni is being located, or where the hydrochloric acid and other digestive juices are being located there. When these pathogens are entering into the stomach, later into the small intestine or into the large intestine, where there is the disturbances in the conversion of macromolecules into micromolecules is happening, there we are going to expect the affliction of the uh, what do you say, that dosha visheshan may be possible. Here there is a possibility of the Nija Vikara may be possible. So that means the Asya is one such organ, Bahya Srotas, where 95% of the cases, Nija Vikaras, the two, there may be a possibility of the entry of pathogens are going to entering through this particular Bahya Srotas. As far as significance of Asya is concerned, as we have discussed earlier, 95% of the cases, the person will be having the entry of pathogens through this particular Bahya Srotas only. Maybe in the form of Adhyashana, where the person is going to consume the food before the empty of food substances from the stomach into the small intestine or duodenum. If the person is consuming the food, that is termed as Adhyashana. And Vishamashana, where the person is going to consume the food at irregular timing and irregular quantity. Irregular timing in the sense the person is going to consume the food too early. Say for example, if he is the food consumption time is at around 1 p.m. If the person is consuming the food at around 11 a.m. instead of 1 p.m., or in some other occasions, if the same person is going to consume the food at 3 p.m. instead of 1 p.m., so that means he is having the varied time period, maybe from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that is what we can say in terms of the timing of the, what you say, that Vishamashana. As far as quantity and Vishamashana are concerned, sometimes the person is going to take only little amount of the food. Sometimes the person is going to take the large amount of the food as such. Here, You cannot able to predict what may be the timing the person is going to take the food, or what may be the quantity the person is going to take the food. That is what we can say Vishamashana. Samashana, where the person is going to consume the wholesome as well as unwholesome food together. It is even mentioned that the Kshira Sevana is ideal, whereas Dadi Sevana is not ideal. If the person is going to take the lassi, having the dadi mixed with milk and little amount of the salt, what we can say, this can be considered as samashana. Then comes the viruddhashana, totally consumption of incompatible food substances together. For example, consumption of milk and fish together. Milk is considered to be shita virya, whereas the fish is considered to be having the ushna virya. So here the virya viruddha ashana, as such, we are going to say that if the person is going to consume honey and ghee together in equal quantities, that is what we can say viruddhahara. And atyashana, if the person is going to consume the food at a particular time in large quantity itself. For example, when you are going to attend a marriage function, there we are going to consume the food in large quantities at a particular time period only. That is what we can say atyashana. Rukshashana, that means consumption of food substances having the ruksha quality. Snigdhashana, the person is going to consume the food having the food substance which are having the snigdha quality in excess. Shitashana, etc. So when you think about uh, these are the different ways where the person is going to have the entry of these through the oral cavity only. This is what we can say one of the major significance here. Whereas the in case of the person is doing the vyayama, or if the person is having the nasal obstruction, there may be a possibility of dust which may enter through the oral cavity. There may be a possibility of entry of smoke into the oral cavity. There may be a possibility of entry of cold air through oral cavity, which is actually compromising the health status of an individual by avoiding the three major functions of a nose, that is filtration, warming of the air, and humidification of the air. That is what we can say the three main functions of the nose, they are going to get disturbed. So here also that will be entering through the oral cavity. If the person is doing the excessive vyayama at that particular time period, to have the entry of the excessive air, that too due to the excessive effort itself, the person will be having the entry of this particular air through oral cavity only. And if the person is suffering from nasal obstruction, again as we have discussed earlier, there may be a possibility of entry of these pathogens that can happen through the oral cavity. Improper gandusha, kavala or vamana, or improper measures during snehapana may lead to the disturbances that can happen in the mouth itself. Gandusha refers to the gargling. Kavala refers to keeping the liquid in the mouth for certain period of time. Vamana refers to the emesis or vomiting, medicated vomiting. And snehapana, consumption of medicated oil or the snehana or ghee, etc. That is termed as the another reason for the disturbances to happen in the mouth. Whenever if you look into the mechanism, what actually happens is there may be a possibility of remnants of the food in the oral cavity for longer amount of time. When that is happening, this may lead to disturbances happening in the oral cavity, such as dental caries may happen, or inflammation in the mouth that can happen. When there is inflammation in the mouth is happening, which will lead to sympathetic nerve stimulation. When there is sympathetic nerve stimulation, there may be a possibility of reduced salivary secretion may be possible. And when there is reduced salivary secretions, which will lead to bacterial proliferation. That is what we can say due to the uh, reduced salivary secretions, which contains lysozymes also, which will be helpful in combating the bacteria present in the mouth. When there is deficient, naturally that will lead to bacterial proliferation, which will lead to the coating to happen over the dorsal surface of the tongue. The reason why the dorsal surface of the tongue is going to have the deposition means it is the parotid gland which will be having the opening at the second upper molar teeth. When there is parotid gland secretion is less, that will be leading to the liptasyata or coating over the tongue that can happen. The total take-home messages from today's discussion are: when you think about the Asya or mouth, it's a very important Bahya Srotas. More than 95% of the cases, the entry of pathogen is going to take place through oral cavity. The possible nidanas that what we can say that can happen through oral cavity are adhyashana or vishamashana or samashana or viruddhashana or atyashana, etc. When the person is doing excessive exercise, there may be a possible entry of the dust, smoke, etc. or cold air through oral cavity. And improper snehana or gandusha or kavala or vamana that may lead to the affliction of the mouth itself. If the person is having the affliction of the mouth without the involvement of the ashaya, we are going to say there may be a possibility of a intracellular compartment affliction, or otherwise we can say there may be a possibility of agantuja vikara. And when the involvement of the stomach or small intestine or large intestine are happening through the entry of pathogens through the oral cavity, then we are going to say the Nija Vikara affliction can be possible, where the vitiation of the dosha is going to take place in the alimentary canal. What we can say the inflammation, etc., that is going to get happen. From there, these are responsible for the inflammatory markers to get produced in the alimentary canal. From there, these markers are entering via the mucosa of a stomach, small intestine or large intestine into the intravascular compartment. From there, these inflammatory markers as such, they are going to enter into the interstitial compartment where susceptibility is being present. From there, these inflammatory markers or pathogens are going to enter into the cells. Thus, the Nija Vikara is going to get manifested, where the dosha or pathogens, they will move from Koshtha to Shakha or Koshtha to Madhyama Roga Marga or Koshtha to Marma Asthi or Sandhi. Dear ANA community, that's all for today. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. And what is the one video that you would like to hear in the coming days? Mention in the comment box below and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Ayurveda learners or true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. That's all for today. Something more in the next video. Thank you.